As you start your AWS journey, the first thing you are going to need is an AWS account. This allows you access to the console, and by provisioning other users, you'll open up other channels of interaction, like the command line interface or CLI, programmatic access, API calls, or even be able to use our software development kits or SDKs, like the one for Java, to interact with your AWS account. When you first create the account, you'll notice that you're using the super user or root user. This means that you can do anything and everything in your account, even deleting resources that you didn't mean to. For that fact, the first best practice is to create individual user accounts for each user and provide them with relevant access. For example, if they need admin access, then provision it. But if they only need read access to, say, a DynamoDB table, then make sure you only provision that. It's called the principle of least privilege access, and likewise means to provision the minimum needed access policies so that users can only perform the work they need to. You can create more users via the IAM console by choosing a username, password, whether you want to access it via the console or programmatically, and then you add policies that stipulate the actual resources they have access to. For the purposes of creating an admin user, you attach the administrator access policy, which is a JSON document that describes it. And you can see an example of what this looks like right now on screen. You can see that there are three main areas of interest. Effect, which can be an allow or deny. In this case, it's an allow. Action, which is what API am I going to allow or deny? And in this case, it's all APIs. Resource, which is where I can execute this against. In this case, it's all AWS resources. We're using the star or asterisk because not only are you a star, but so am I. But you know what? Just usernames and passwords are so last year. We want to add an additional layer of protection for privileged users as another best practice. It's called MFA and stands for multi-factor authentication. And it adds another verification check when you try to log in. This can and should be enabled for your root account, along with each account you're trying to protect. Essentially, you'll be prompted for a code once you've entered your username and password, with the code coming from an application like Google Authenticator, a security key like a YubiKey, or even an actual token device such as a Gemalto token. Other best practices include using strong passwords versus something like, say, password123, using roles and groups to assign permissions, and even monitoring them using CloudWatch and CloudTrail, or maybe some other AWS services. In fact, that's the assigned reading we recommend, and it'll be listed in your resources section for the week. But with that being said, let's get back to all the fun and games, and how about we show you a demo? Hello Space Explorers, and welcome to the demo for multi-factor authentication, or MFA. In this demo, we'll cover creating a user and then assigning an MFA mechanism to this user. The first thing we're going to do is log into our AWS account with an admin user. Remember, you don't want to use your root account as those should be restricted so as to prevent accidental deletions and other funny business. So if we go in here, you can see that I'm logged in already, and I'm going to go to the IAM console, or Identity and Access Management console. We're going to click on the Users section here on the left navigation bar, and then we're going to click Add User. We're going to give it a fancy name. In this case, we're going to call this user Buzz. We're going to select AWS Management Console Access by clicking on this doohickey, kind of also known as a checkbox. So once we select it, you'll see that it gives us the option to choose password generation, and we're going to let it auto-generate a password for us. And in this example, we won't ask the user to reset their password. So unselect this last checkbox. We're going to click the Next Permissions button. And because we want to create another admin user, we'll click the Attach Existing Policies Directly section. You can actually search here for admin, and you can see that it auto-completes, or for those eagle-eye students, you'll notice that particular policy is at the top of our list. So we're going to go ahead and select it, and then click Next Tags. Now we're going to give it some fancy tags. We'll go with the Be Mars for our mission. Click Next and Review, and now we're going to make sure that everything is A-OK. So, yep, kind of looks good. So let's click on the Create User button. And success, we've created a user. Just make sure that you copy these kind of details that are on this page. This is the sign-in URL that you want, and I'm gonna copy that here. And the password, which is pretty important if we're gonna log in with our user, aptly called Buzz. So now let's click close. You can see that our user is there in our user dashboard, and we're gonna actually click through on the name itself. We're gonna navigate now to security credentials. So that's a tab that we click, and under the assigned MFA device section, we're gonna click manage. Now this is where you actually assign your MFA token. In my case, we're gonna use a virtual authenticator. I've downloaded Google Authenticator to my phone, and I'm gonna click continue here. Now I'm going to show the QR code, and using my phone, I'm going to scan that barcode. So let's try that out. Scan barcode. Oh, cool, already came up. And now we're gonna enter in 2 consecutive MFA codes. So let me enter in the first one here. And we'll wait for it to tick over to the next one. Oh, there we go. Now we click assign MFA. Cool, success again. Now we're gonna close that, and we're gonna try to log in with that user. So let me just log out from my AWS console. I will pull up that URL that was in the create user screen. Oh, you'll see it's asking me for my username. I know that already. It is Buzz. I'll put in my password, click sign in. Oh, and I'm prompted for my MFA code. So let me check it out on my phone. Click submit, and voila, we're in to the matrix or the AWS account, depending on how you look at it. But anyway, thanks for watching along, and see you soon, Space Cadet. That's it for this section. Hopefully you enjoyed the buzz around securing AWS accounts. Be seeing you soon.